Tonight, as you close your eyes and surrender to sleep, something you cannot see is moving through your home, room by room, corner by corner. While you rest, heaven is conducting an inventory, not of your furniture, not of your possessions, but of the spiritual atmosphere that has been building in your house for months, perhaps years. And what they discover tonight will determine what is released into your life tomorrow. This is not imagination. This is not symbolism. This is a divine assessment that occurs when the spiritual realm draws close enough to the natural world to measure, to weigh, and to record what has been accumulating in the unseen places of your dwelling. Every prayer whispered, every tear shed, every act of faith performed in secret has been noted. But so has every compromise tolerated, every fear entertained, and every doubt that settled into your rooms like dust on forgotten shelves. You may think you live alone, but you have never lived alone. Your home carries witnesses. The walls remember conversations. The air holds echoes of what has been spoken, thought, and felt within those boundaries. And tonight, that spiritual residue comes under divine examination. Heaven is taking inventory, not to condemn, but to determine what must be cleared away and what can be activated for your breakthrough. There are things in your home that you cannot see with natural eyes, but that register clearly in the spiritual realm. Atmospheres created by years of worry that have taken shape in your living room. Peace that has been cultivated through worship and now rests like a presence in your bedroom. Fear that entered through the front door during a season of crisis and never fully departed. Faith that was built through trials and now stands like a pillar in your kitchen. Tonight, all of these invisible realities come under heaven's review. The divine auditors move silently, but their presence is unmistakable to those who have learned to sense spiritual activity. You may feel a stirring in your spirit, a quickening in your heart, or simply an awareness that something is happening beyond your understanding. These are not random sensations. They are the result of spiritual forces conducting their examination, measuring the weight of what has been built in your home through your words, your choices, and your faith. But here is what you must understand. This inventory is not passive. As heaven measures what exists in your spiritual atmosphere, it also begins to rearrange what it finds. Stagnant areas begin to move, blocked pathways begin to clear, heavy atmospheres begin to lift, and light begins to penetrate corners that have been dark for far too long. The examination itself becomes a catalyst for transformation, turning assessment into action. What happens next depends on what the inventory reveals. In some rooms, heaven discovers spiritual assets that have been underutilized, faith that was present but dormant, peace that was available but not accessed, strength that was given but not claimed. These dormant resources begin to activate tonight, stirring to life under the attention of divine examination. You may wake tomorrow with a sense of capacity you did not have before, a strength you did not recognize, or a peace you cannot explain. But the inventory also reveals liabilities, patterns of thinking that have created resistance, emotional habits that have blocked flow, spiritual clutter that has accumulated through neglect or compromise. These hindrances do not remain hidden once heaven's light touches them. They are exposed, marked for removal, and scheduled for clearing. What has been draining your spiritual atmosphere begins to lose its power tonight. There are areas of your home where the spiritual inventory discovers surprising results. Corners where you thought there was emptiness, but heaven finds seeds of breakthrough that were planted in prayer and are ready to sprout. Rooms where you felt heaviness, but the divine examination reveals that the weight was not oppression, but preparation for expansion. Spaces where you sensed conflict, but heaven assessment shows that tension was the precursor to resolution. The spiritual auditors work with precision that surpasses human understanding. They do not make mistakes. They do not overlook details. They see what contributed to every atmosphere, understand what created every spiritual dynamic, and know exactly what must happen to bring your home into alignment with heaven's purposes for your life. Their inventory is both thorough and transformative, creating change even as it measures condition. Consider what has been building in your home through your faithfulness. Every morning you chose trust over worry, added to your spiritual account. Every evening you spoke gratitude instead of complaint, made a deposit in your household's spiritual economy. Every moment you chose peace over panic, strengthened the foundation of heaven's presence in your dwelling. Tonight, these accumulated acts of faith register as assets in your spiritual inventory. But also consider what may have been accumulating through compromise. times when fear was given more voice than faith, seasons when doubt was entertained longer than hope, moments when spiritual discipline was replaced with spiritual carelessness. These patterns too are measured and recorded, not for condemnation but for correction. Heaven's inventory is always aimed at restoration, never destruction. The examination reveals that your home has spiritual territories, areas where faith dominates and heaven's presence is strong, zones where confusion has taken root and clarity is needed, regions where breakthrough is imminent and opposition is mounting its final resistance. The divine inventory maps these territories clearly, identifying where breakthrough will come first and where additional spiritual work is required. As the spiritual auditors move through your home, they pay special attention to the places where you spend the most time. Your bedroom, where thoughts are processed in silence and dreams are received or rejected. Your kitchen, where provision is prepared and gratitude is often expressed or forgotten. Your living room, where relationships are nurtured and atmospheres are shaped by conversation. These central areas carry the most weight in your spiritual inventory because they influence everything else. What happens in your private spaces speaks loudest in the spiritual realm. The prayers offered behind closed doors, the worship given when no one else is listening, the tears shed in secret, and the faith exercised in isolation. These hidden moments have created spiritual substance that registers powerfully in tonight's divine assessment. Heaven honors what is done in secret, and tonight that honor translates into spiritual assets that can be activated for your future. But the inventory also reveals where private compromise has created vulnerabilities, entertainment choices that open doors to influences that do not align with heaven's purposes. Thought patterns that were allowed to run unchecked and created negative spiritual momentum. Emotional habits that were never addressed and gradually poisoned your home's atmosphere. These hidden liabilities are exposed tonight, not for shame but for healing. There are relationships that have shaped your home's spiritual climate. People who have visited and left deposits of faith, hope, and encouragement. But also those who have introduced fear, discord, or confusion. The spiritual inventory accounts for all of these influences, measuring their lasting impact on your household's atmosphere. Some connections will be strengthened by tonight's assessment, while others will begin to naturally fade as their season in your life reaches completion. The divine examination considers not only what is present, but what is missing. Spiritual resources that should be active in your home but have been dormant. Divine connections that have been offered but not recognized. Opportunities for breakthrough that have been available but not seized. Tonight's inventory identifies these gaps, not as failures but as potential waiting to be unlocked. Your children, if you have them, are included in this spiritual assessment. The faith they have observed in your home, the peace they have experienced through your trust in heaven, the security they have felt because of your spiritual foundation, but also any fear they have absorbed, any instability they have sensed, or any confusion they have inherited. The inventory measures all of these influences, preparing to strengthen what builds them up and remove what tears them down. There is a reason this spiritual inventory happens while you sleep. In rest, your defenses are down and your spirit is more accessible to divine influence. In sleep, the noise of daily activity quiets and spiritual activity becomes more pronounced. In stillness, heaven can work without resistance, measuring and adjusting what needs to be aligned for your spiritual advancement. When the examination is complete, changes begin to manifest, not always dramatically, but always effectively. You may wake with unusual clarity about decisions that have been confusing you. You may find unexpected peace about situations that have been troubling your mind. You may discover strength for challenges that have been overwhelming you. These shifts are the result of spiritual adjustments made during tonight's divine inventory. The assessment also prepares your home for what is coming. Future opportunities that will require specific spiritual conditions to be met. Upcoming challenges that will demand certain spiritual resources to be available. Divine appointments that will need your household's atmosphere to be clear and aligned. Tonight's inventory ensures that your spiritual environment is ready for what heaven has planned. Some of what the examination reveals will become apparent immediately. Obvious changes in your home's atmosphere that even visitors will notice. A lightness where there was heaviness. A peace where there was tension. An order where there was confusion. These visible shifts confirm that the spiritual inventory has accomplished its purpose in those areas. But other discoveries from tonight's assessment will unfold gradually. Seeds of understanding that were planted during the examination will sprout into wisdom over the coming days. Spiritual resources that were activated tonight will become available as you need them in future situations. Divine connections that were established during the inventory will manifest as the right people enter your life at the right moments. The spiritual inventory is not a one-time event. It happens whenever your household reaches a new level of spiritual maturity and is ready for greater responsibility. It occurs when heaven is preparing to release new resources into your life and wants to ensure your spiritual environment can sustain them. It takes place when breakthrough is imminent and your home's atmosphere must be perfectly aligned to receive it. Tonight marks such a moment in your journey. The inventory happens now because you are ready for what comes next. Your faithfulness has created spiritual substance that can support greater blessing. Your endurance through recent challenges has proven your character can handle increased responsibility. Your continued trust despite delayed answers has demonstrated that your foundation is solid enough to build upon. As the divine auditors complete their examination and begin to implement their findings, rest in the knowledge that nothing is random about this process. Every measurement taken, every adjustment made, and every resource activated or removed serves the purpose of positioning your household for divine blessing. The inventory is not about judgment, but about preparation for breakthrough that requires specific spiritual conditions to be met. Tomorrow you will wake to a home that has been spiritually recalibrated. Some changes will be immediately apparent, while others will reveal themselves as you move through your day. But all of the adjustments made during tonight's examination serve the same purpose, aligning your spiritual environment with heaven's intentions for your family's future. The inventory has been taken. The assessment is complete. The adjustments have been made. Your home now carries the spiritual atmosphere required for the next phase of your journey. Rest in the knowledge that heaven has prepared your household for what comes next, and what comes next is good. Every spiritual asset discovered during tonight's examination will begin to compound its value in the days ahead. Faith that was measured will multiply. Peace that was verified will deepen. Strength that was assessed will increase. The spiritual economy of your household operates on divine principles, where faithfulness creates abundance and trust generates supernatural provision. There are doors that have been spiritually unlocked because of what the inventory revealed about your character. Opportunities that were waiting for your household to reach specific spiritual qualifications are now accessible. Divine connections that required certain atmospheric conditions in your home can now be established. The examination has certified your readiness for advancement. But the greatest discovery from tonight's spiritual inventory is this: you have been found faithful. In seasons of testing, you maintained trust. In moments of uncertainty, you chose hope. In times of delay, you continued to believe. This faithfulness has created spiritual capital that heaven is now ready to invest in your future. The inventory confirms that you are prepared for increase, positioned for breakthrough, and qualified for blessing. What was measured tonight will be multiplied tomorrow. What was assessed in the darkness will be manifested in the light. What was examined in secret will be revealed in your circumstances. The spiritual inventory was never about what you lacked, but about confirming that you possess what is required for the next level of your destiny. Your house stands approved. Your atmosphere is aligned. Your spiritual foundation is solid. The inventory has spoken, and its verdict is favorable. Heaven has certified your household as ready for divine visitation, prepared for supernatural intervention, and positioned for breakthrough that exceeds your highest expectations. Tonight you sleep in a home that carries heaven's approval. Tomorrow you wake in a dwelling that has been marked for blessing. The spiritual inventory is complete, and the results declare that your house is ready for the extraordinary visitation that is about to unfold in your life. The examination has ended. The preparation has begun. Your household is approved, so it is done well now.